no, it's Thursday. Now, first order of business, I promise Linguini is fine. No giraffes were harmed in the making of the thumbnail. Anyway, so it turns out that over the last 3 years, I have written and released almost 100 patterns, the majority of which are available here on YouTube, but the majority of which I haven't made since they got uploaded. So today we're going to fix that. Today we're going to be playing a little bit of like pattern roulette. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to spin 2 wheels. So one has the pieces on it that we need to make. So like head, body, tail, arms, legs, etc. And the other one has nearly every pattern I've ever made on it. Now I have had to exclude some just because they're incompatible due to size or due to the way they've been constructed. But in general, I'm going to try and make whatever comes up work. So let's spin the wheel and see what we're making for our first creature. Now, just as a quick disclaimer, when I did the screen recordings of the wheels spinning, apparently only the pattern wheel recorded, so you'll just have to trust me that the other wheel existed. So what was picked was the head of the Triceratops, ears of the bear, which are just these tiny little pieces on top, the body of the bunny. Links to all of these will be in the description down below as well, in case you were looking for any of the patterns or to try and replicate what I'm going to do today. Then it was arms of the owl bear. So they have these little feathers on the back of them too. And here's where it gets a little tricky. The legs of the T-Rex. So they are pretty big compared to the rest of them. The tail of the Loch Ness. So this was all built in one big piece, but I should be able to just like work out the pattern for just the tail piece that I did. And finally, the special detail is from the pig. Now, for the pig, the special detail could either be his curly tail or his nose, but because we've already got a pretty substantial tail for this guy, I'm thinking I'm gonna make it his little nose. So the creature combo for Mashup 1 was giving me definite dinosaur vibes, with the Triceratops, T-Rex, and Loch Ness Monster all in there. Now, when I think of dinosaurs, I always think of warm colours, so I figured I would go with a yellow and orange combination, which looks so pretty against my purple background. I started by making the Triceratops head and all the pieces that would attach to it. The Triceratops originally started at its tail and worked towards the head, so I just found a row behind the frill that was a nice easy multiple of 6, worked up a flat piece to that size and then carried on from there. I left off the final horn of the head because I knew it would be covered by our pig's nose. Now the bunny starts at the top of the head and then works down into the body, so I had to work it backwards, starting from the last row and swapping all of the increases and decreases around, so I could make just the body nugget. I don't know where I'm putting the head yet, but we'll work that out, I'm sure. I did the same thing for the Loch Ness tail, as it meant I could start at the tip and it would leave me an open end against the body. It's so much easier to join an open edge seamlessly to a closed piece than to try and join 2 closed pieces together. I positioned it so that the direction of the rows matched and figured that was as good a place as any, so I pinned it on. So when I made the T-Rex leg, it looked huge, like roar. I sprinkled in some maths to halve the size, and it made it more like rawr. I liked the smaller size better, so that's what we went with. Then he just needed his arms with the feathers on the backs. I played around with the positioning of everything, originally planning on him being more upright and bipedal. But then we had a magical moment. Oh my god, I like that position so much better. And our banana pig lizard was born. You ever look at something and just know that that's what happens when you leave a banana milkshake out in the sun too long? Or feed your gecko nothing but banana splits? I think that's what's happened here. So there is our finished banana pig lizard. Alright, so now we've finished our first creature mashup. We're all nicely warmed up, let's spin the wheels again. So they were the head of the hatching dragon, which should be interesting. The ears of the red panda, and they have this little kind of colored triangle on the back of them. And then next was a really interesting choice. It's the body of the ox. Now, he was one of the first patterns I made on this channel, and I haven't made one in what, 2 full years, I think. So that should be interesting. So for the arms, it was the axolotl. So these giant flippery feet. The legs are going to be from the phoenix, which is just going to make for hilarious juxtaposition between these tiny clawed feet and the massive toes of the axolotl that we're dealing with. So then we had the tail of the tiger, and the special detail this time was from the griffin. So I think that that's going to have to be, I kind of thought about doing the beak, but I think I'm going to have to do the wings. I think they are like the specialist detail of the griffin pattern. So this collection of creatures, I'm pretty sure is just going to come out looking like a griffin. We've got the tiger tail, we've got some claws, we've got some wings. So we'll just have sort of a little bit of everything in there. We'll just have to see what it turns out as. So I started by picking a light, mid, and a dark tone. A lot of these pieces relied really heavily on their color changes and markings. We had the red panda in the mix, as well as like the stripes of the tiger. We had color changes for the phoenix and the potential for different colored feathers as well on the griffin. I started making the ox body first, and it turned out to be unexpectedly huge. Because it was released so long ago, it had been a while since I'd made one of those. And I had just forgotten the scale I used to work at was a good 50% larger than what I tend to gravitate towards now. So after the body of the ox, the next piece I made was the face piece to go on the hatching dragon. Now I had intended to make sort of the whole head and neck of the hatching dragon and attach it to the body of the ox to sort of give it like a long sort of thing. But then I made the face mask and I fit it over the top of the nub of the body, and it was just like one of those magical moments where I'm just like, nope, the face mask is just gonna have to count. Even though they're the same color, this is just, I can see the creature, the spark of life was there. So instead of making the base piece for the hatching dragon, I instead remade the face mask in a different color. With that sorted, I whipped up the rest of the pieces. Then just assembled them in the obvious order. I attached the eyes to the face, then attached the face to the body, the ears to the face, the limbs to the body, the tail to the butt, and the wings to the back, all culminating in one grape griffin frog. So we have a definitive fruity goblin theme going between these two. Let's see if the third one brings the same vibe. And I was right, he did kind of turn out looking like a baby griffin. A really derpy baby griffin. And we're done with you, and we're done with you, and we're done with you, and we're done with you. I think we're done with you too, but you can stay. You're just a baby, we don't throw babies. All right, I was going to stop at 2, but I'm having too much fun, so we're gonna make just one more. So, spin those wheels. Okay, so it looks like what we're going to be doing, I'm really excited about how this one turned out. We are going to be doing the head of our leopard gecko, and I might include the jaw in that too. I haven't decided yet. The ears of our pig. So our pig is appearing twice. It's appearing for the second time. Just, I guess that shows that it truly is random. That will be interesting to try and do because they are built into the head of the pig. They're not a separate piece, so I'll have to build those into the leopard gecko head, I suppose. Then we have the body of our sloth, little Valentine's Day sloth, also from 2 years ago. I'm loving these deep cuts. So his body is kind of the whole nugget. So that will be our body. And then we have the arms of the lobster. So he's gonna have a pair of fantastic snippy claws. And then to sort of make up for that, he's going to have the legs of the squirrel. And you guys, the legs of the squirrel are just these 2 little knobs. So we'll have to just sort of see how that balances out. Then we have the tail of the chicken. And the chicken's tail is literally just a 3 fan stitch piece that we've sewn onto the edge of the butt. So it'll just have to like drape around the back of the sloth. And finally, we got the special detail is the bat. Now for the bat, I could do his nose again. I could stitch on the fangs again, but kind of like with the last one with the griffin, I think that the specialist detail on this guy is his wings. And so we will be adding wings to this final guy as well. Okay, so this time I decided to go for an aquatic color palette, sticking with like blues and greens. Now the gecko and the sloth both had head and body combos, but I figured the gecko head could just be attached to the sloth nugget, so I didn't have to overthink that too much. I did decide that the lower jaw and the eyelids of the gecko both did count as the gecko head, so they were added into the mix. And I also had to build those pig ears, like I thought, directly onto the back of the gecko head. Then it was just a matter of making the claws, the feet, what is passing for a tail, and finally the wings. The more I assembled him, the more he reminded me of something that would move into the back of the fridge if it wasn't cleaned regularly. Maybe I'm just being too harsh. I low-key had a thought that he might come out sort of blueberry-esque and fit the fruity theme with the others, but he is definitely more sentient Tupperware than delicious berry. I would not recommend adding him to pancakes. So yeah, those are our 3 gremlin-y, goblin-y mash-up creatures. I had so much fun doing this, and it kind of evoked the same magic to me as the Franken pattern that I did with Skein Spider back in October, where it forced me to kind of think outside the scale of things and the proportions of things that I would normally work with. Like I would never normally incorporate a massive body and a tiny head, or think to just include those details the way those were done. I never could have designed something that looked like that, but I love these guys. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. Are you a fan of the banana pig lizard, the grape griffin frog, or the thing from the back of the fridge? I think my favorite has to be number 3. There is just something about the expression on his face that I just really adore. You can leave suggestions for future videos in the comments down below, but otherwise I will see you next week. Okay, bye!
Beware what looms behind the fridge.